What's up, my fellow trash-anators? Welcome back to another video. And look at me, it's your boy. And now I finally have music that really relates to me. This is now, if you can hear it, this is the Cat's Motel theme from Courage the Cowardly Dog. And it's not my theme song. You would know that if you watched any of my, if you watch my talking TikToks where I talk about things I'm thinking about or just like want to talk about, you know, that kind of quirky stuff, you know. Anyway, as you saw in the title, I'm doing, grab my blanket by accident. As you saw in the title, we're doing another spook review for the third Friday of October. So next Friday will be the third day before Halloween. So yeah, I'm getting ready. This Sunday I'm gonna be a scare actor in a haunted hayride for a friend's uncle. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But let's get into the actual spooky stuff. Today I'm gonna review the no. Is it the Poltergeist or is it just Poltergeist? I literally just watched it like a couple hours ago. It's Poltergeist, right? It doesn't matter. I watched the first Poltergeist movie, but I will not be reviewing the other ones because they don't have the impact on cinema culture as the first one does. So yeah, don't expect me to review those unless if this review gets let's say 5 likes on this review, I'll review the other ones in their own separate videos. Even I won't do a compilation of the second one and the third one together. I'll do 2 separate reviews for those movies. All right. So if you like this movie, like, comment, subscribe. Make me review those other Poltergeist movies. Anyway, this is the first time I've watched this movie, so I wasn't ready for exactly what it was gonna be like, because I heard people talking about how scary it was, and it's all this jimble jamble that this movie is pretty good, is what they say. It's all right. It's all right. I give it like a 7 out of 10. Not even that, like a 6 out. No, yeah, 7 out of 10 is about where I put it. Anyway, let's get into the actual story. We open up to credits of the national U.S. anthem. I wasn't ready for that. I was kind of saying, oh, a famous horror movie. Let me just go watch it for a review or just for my enjoyment. Like as soon as I click it, dun, and then the national anthem kicks in. I wasn't ready for that. Nor was I ready for the blatant, like American idealized living life. Like the suburban neighborhoods that look identical to each other. Just generic everything. It looks all perfect but bland. And then you got families inside of those houses that are like really quirky and they have like nice lives together. It's sort of that sort of dynamic. But spoilers, alright, I'm gonna give you a second. There's a cut there. Don't know where that came from. Anyway, spoilers, we find out the actual housing complex was built atop of a grave where the guy was like, oh, we're gonna move the graves, it's gonna be fine, you can live there. But no, he just moved the headstones. So yeah, basically all the houses are haunted, but it just manifests into the house that the person who was like, oh yeah, you sure that houses here are gonna be fine? Because I want my family to have a nice house. And so, but now his house is haunted. And the people will find out are his family, his wife, his 2 daughters, and his son. And so, let's see. We initially open up to like the family being all nice, and the dad is watching football with his friends, and then we go up to the wife, and she's making the kids' room. She's getting all nice and tidy, and man, there is a lot of Star Wars in that kid's room. Like a lot of Star Wars and a lot of stereotypical girl stuff in there. Like this is very clearly a very dated movie when it comes to like the ideals it's trying to preach. But I do think at the end it really shows as it's like an anti-capitalist movie almost, because it's like this rich guy who likes to build houses built a house on a graveyard where he said he would remove them, but he didn't because he was like, ugh, who can deal with that? I just want the money. But so at the very core of it, it's very anti-capitalist, but at the very beginning it preaches those ideals to an extent. So be aware. It's dated, but not really. The ending is where things really come together. That's where the real juicy part of this movie goes. I feel like all great horror movies have that kind of dynamic where the beginning is like, oh, la la la, we're fine. We're actually taking this scary stuff super easily, but at the end it gets really scary. So like Malignant. Malignant has that same exact story dynamic. The beginning is all sunshine, fear, and rainbows. But suddenly something happens and it's like, ooh, scary, but we're fine with it. And then at the very end, it gets all real scary. So yeah. But, okay, so the family just doing their lives, but then a storm rolls in and the guy's building a pool in his backyard, which, dead people are there. So the ghosts are awakened by the pool being made, and of course houses being built on their graves. So that awakens them, and at that night the kids get scared and they sleep with the parents in their room. And I gotta be honest, the scene where the parents are just talking to each other after they put the kids to bed I really like those scenes, because this movie may be a little dated and it's kind of like weird, but the characters are very written realistically, and I can appreciate that. Like, the first scene we really get to see these people actually act like people is literally right after the kids are put to bed, because they're kind of a hindrance on the story overall. I mean, they're the reason the story even happens, kinda, because after the kids go in bed and the ghosts are awakened, the day after, weird starts to happen, like ghost stuff. The chairs get moved around and things are thrown all over the place and kids are slid against the floor, because that's what the mom does when she finds out about everything. She understands that, hey, this is weird and I like it, it's cool, and she handles the ghosts very well. She's like, wow, this is crazy. Of course, she's a stay-at-home mom, so she doesn't really have much to do, and the dad's off working, making the money, because that's what the times back then wanted those roles to be. So, but when the dad comes home, and the wife is like, hey baby, look at this. Puts a chair, and it's in the kitchen. The kitchen is where the main activity starts. She puts a chair and a chalk outline she put that has arrows going to the other side of the kitchen. She puts it there. She's like, all right, take off your sunglasses, all right? Hands off, and the chair just goes. And the dad is like, and so she's like, all right, here. Go over to the chair. All right. She really is, she's like acting crazy right now. And she's like, all right, come here, baby. And the little girl is like, I'm hungry, I want pizza. And she's like, all right, after he's used as a test rat or whatever, guinea pig. I meant to say guinea pig. She puts him on the floor with a helmet. And it's like, and alakazam. She doesn't actually say that, but the kid just slides over to the dad, and now he's like, oh, this isn't right. So they go over to the neighbor's house and like, hey, have you gotten any ghosts here lately? And they're like, no, we're just eating and not being eaten by flies or mosquitoes. Because it's weird that they point out that they're like, oh, we've never been bit by mosquitoes, have we, little kid who's also really fat? And he's like, "Nah, can I eat?" And he's like, "Alright, whatever, scram. I'm trying to eat my meat." Beans. And yeah, that basically happens. Like, oh, the mosquitoes. But that's kind of throwaway line, probably because it's like a metaphor for them being decomposing. Because everyone knows that flies are attracted to gross stuff, and dead people are gross. So the mosquitoes might be a thing of that caliber. But then, if I remember correctly, that's when things really happen. The parents are in the room, and something, and then we find out that the kids' room, the two youngest kids, they have the same room. You remember the Star Wars room? We find out that their room is the center of all of the spooky shit, and so the closet is the main area. That's the main portal. But at that same time, there's a terrible storm going on, and then the kids, the boy starts screaming because there's a tree outside his window, and it looks really human. It looks like it has 3 human faces. It grabs him, pulls him out, tries eating him, and the parents are like, "Oh no!" And they go outside. Everyone goes outside except the little girl, and they try and help him, and they do. They save him from the evil kid-eating tree. But the little girl is still in her room, of course. That's where the portal is to the afterlife. And so she gets put in, and then she's now in the afterlife where she can only interact with electronics. But the parents don't know that because they were outside, and everyone goes inside looking for her. But the boy who's just eaten is super traumatized, and like he has cuts in his face from the trees, and he's like really gross looking. And he goes to the TV in the parents' room, and so he's like, "Mom, no!" And we find out the little girl is in basically the afterlife, or purgatory, more like it. And she's like, I'm here with the TV people," because that was set up earlier. She called it the ghost TV people because that's how they communicated before. Sorry, I didn't tell you. So, let's see. I'm trying to remember. After that happens, they really understand this is bad news. The kid almost got eaten. Their daughter is literally dead, basically. She's stuck in purgatory with all these ghosts because you live above. Excuse me. They live above a grave because capitalism, alright? I hate you. So they go to the ghost investigators because apparently ghosts are very common in that universe. They probably explain it more in the sequels, but I don't really care. Remember, get this video to 5 likes and I'll review those 2 movies individually. So they're like, "Oh yeah, our house is haunted, and we wonder if you come over and save my little girl because she's stuck in the purgatory." And they're like, "Alright, whatever. It's probably just gonna be another ghost." Because it's like they don't really do poltergeists because that's what this is. A poltergeist is more of an attacking ghost. They want to hurt you to get you out of their area. While ghosts are just kind of lingering, like, "Hey, leave this house." They basically have the same motive, or like ghosts almost they almost sometimes were like, "Help me live on in the afterlife. I need to move on. Finish my task for me." Alright, yeah, sort of like that. But this is a poltergeist, so this ghost is trying. Well, it's like a demon and ghost. It's not really explained well. They're like, "Oh, there's a bunch of ghosts, and then there's the demon." But this is weird. So like, you gotta keep your little girl. Well, they come over and they're like, "Alright, let's see what's happening." But as soon as they walk in, basically, stuff starts to happen because these ghosts are ruthless. So like, and they're like, "Okay, we gotta take this seriously. This is poltergeist." And I'm like, "What's a poltergeist?" And they give the same exact explanation that I just did. So that happens, and so let's see. They do an investigation. They try and figure out what's happening, what's going on, and people start experiencing stuff, and all this just jizzy jazz. Sorry, I didn't mean to say jizz. But anyway, so that happens, and people get hurt, and you get bit in their sides, and see visions of their face falling off. And that scene where the guy's face falls off, get out of here. The face falls off has not aged well. The only thing I wish was better is the shoulders. It's very obvious the shoulders are very stiff and plastic. Just make them rubber so they can move up and down. Like put the arms like here. All right, the guy's arms have a hole, and have them be able to move. They obviously have a decent budget. I don't know why they wouldn't just make it. It's literally just putting a hinge. You don't even have to make these rubber. Just have the plastic, put a hinge right where the neck is, have the arms go into holes that go into the biceps, and just so it actually looks like it's an actual body rather than a mannequin. That's like my least favorite part of the movie. My favorite part, if you're asking, by the way, is where we first find out we're in the position of the wife, and we first find out that there's ghosts. Where it's like, okay, she's like getting weirded out. She's in the kitchen. She looks over to the table, and all the chairs are out, because in the previous scene they said, oh, you kids need to push in your tables after you eat. And she's like, oh, this is a prank. Come on, kids. And then her daughter, the youngest one, pulls on her shirt from behind, which is a really creepy scene. There's just a little hand that goes up, and she's even scared about it. She's like, oh, what's happening? She's like, I'm hungry, or something like that, or whatever kids say. So let's see. She looks away, and she's like, she's focusing on the kid, and she's like, all right. She looks to the tables, and all the chairs are in like a giant tower, and she's like, what the shit is going on? And she's like, and the kid's like, and she's like, and mom's like, it is that the TV people? Remember TV people? And she's like, and either she asked, was it you who did that first, or was it I can't remember the order, but she asks, is it the TV people? And she goes, yes. And either is it a question before or a question after. I can't remember. So yeah, that's my favorite scene. It's a one shot that looks really cool. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. Even after the ending. So like in the ending, so we find out that the girl is really in purgatory, and they have to get her out. So they after some shenanigans, they get a psychic, a short person. Like, she's really small, and like her voice is so soft, and it's weird. So yeah, she's a psychic. She can help. She's like, you need to get her out. You need to tell her not to go into the light, because there's a light, and things happen. And then they get the mom to go into the purgatory gate, and they get her. They get the daughter. Everyone's safe. Everything's fine, but they're getting ready to move the day after, and so they're like, all right, get things ready. We don't want to stay in this house anymore. But they stay in the house anyway, like the mom and the two youngest kids. She takes a shower. While that's happening, the portal opens again, and they try to get the girl. And then things happen, and the mom's like, she's dressed, and she's like, Things, the metal in the house starts getting shocky, because that's what ghosts do. They do things with electricity. And so she sees like a demon dog that roars like a tiger. I know it sounds like a lion, but that's actually tiger sound, because tigers sound super scary compared to lions. So yeah, that's a fun fact I learned, that most lion sounds are actually tigers. So yeah, watch out for that. But then that happens and things go and whatever, and she saves the kids and they leave. They actually leave. The father helps you, and the guy who actually made the complex made is there also somehow, or for some reason I don't remember. And then the father's like, "You motherfucker! Why don't you move the bodies?" And he dies. Because the house implodes and there's like electricity or whatever. I think he dies. I hope he's dead. Fictional character. Don't delete my video. Don't do anything. Alright? Not in real life. This is not a threat. Alright. You guys understand that, right? This is a movie review. Anyway. So yeah, they leave, they go to the hotel, and everything's fine from now on. Because the house is destroyed, and they no longer live there. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. That's the end. So yeah, that was the Poltergeist. Like I said before, 7 out of 10 movie. It's a pretty good horror. It's, at this point, it's more of a period piece at this point. Because I think it was made in the 70s. Star Wars, like early 80s, because Star Wars came out in the 70s, and it was, I don't know, I don't remember the date the movie came out. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that was the Poltergeist. All right. Yeah, the horror tropes in it are what make the foundation of horror, like ghost horror, right now. So yeah. Watch it if you want to. You don't have to understand really what horror tropes there are. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what I should do next. I'm gonna review wait, is it the third Friday? I'm pretty sure this is the third Friday. So next Friday is the last Friday of October. So I'm gonna be reviewing Trick or Treat. Yep. Of course, I gotta review the actual Halloween-centric horror movie for last. So, I can't wait to review then. Until then, I'll be here and on TikTok, so follow me there. Links in the description. Peace. I don't really have an outro. See ya.